Hey guys, and welcome to this week's Sunday service. If you're familiar with the way that I do these readings, go ahead and pick your card. The timestamps are down below whenever you're ready. If you're new here, just to talk a little bit about the structure that I use for these readings, I shuffle the deck and I'll cut it, and the card that's there when I cut it is your central message, the card that's basically chosen for you. I then take the bottom of the deck, and that's the card that I interpret as the underlying theme for the reading. And then I take the top of the deck in order to take it, and I interpret it as advice for the matter at hand. Once you get to your reading, you'll see that the central message is over on the left. It's the first card because I like to interpret that card first. I put the bottom of the deck in the center because that feels like the core, and I put the advice over on the right because that's kind of where we're moving into the future, what we're moving into the future with. Whenever you're ready, the timestamps are down below, and I'll see you at your reading. Hello, Hanged Man. So, the idea that we have here with the Three of Swords is that although it's a swords card and therefore reflecting intellect and the mental realm, the imagery is very obviously emotional. You know, the heart being stabbed, it's heartbreak. And yeah, heartbreak and anything that weighs on the heart this way, anything emotional this way can weigh on the mind, which is why it's applied to the swords suit. But again, that it's a swords card and that we have this emotional image here gives this card so much weight. On top of what the image is, which is, again, a pierced heart, a broken heart. And here in this reading, it came through not so much as heartbreak, which, yeah, that can be true, but more so as just despair on what weighs on both the mind and the heart. And obviously, when something weighs on one, it generally weighs on the other as well. So, what's at the root of that despair that we're seeing in the Three of Swords is the Magician reversed. And the Magician upwards is equipped with everything that he needs for whatever it is that he's doing. And I'm only saying he because there's a he in the card, but you don't have to be a he. Upwards, the Magician has everything, and because he's equipped, he's not missing anything, he can proceed with whatever it is that he's trying to do. Reversed then, and at the root, it's indicating how this despair, whatever you're feeling, this weight on your mind and or heart has to do with this lack that we're seeing in the Magician reversed. And the advice being the Two of Wands, which the Two of Wands in essence is a card that speaks of planning for what it is that we want, but with the two coming as an upwards card after the Magician, which is reversed. And okay, so two comes after one, which is reversed in this reading, but it also comes before three, which is the main message in your reading. And the main message in the reading is a despair. The advice is a movement backwards from three down to two, which gives me this idea of stripping down, stripping back, lightening the load, lightening the burden. I sort of saw the image of an elevator at full capacity, and it's all you in there. It's not like other people that you have to kick out. It's like you and your very heavy feelings, and you having to decide what's going to stay here, what's going to stay behind in order for you to make it up to wherever it is that you're going to ascend. And so there we get this idea of moving from three down to two. And the Two of Wands, the idea of it being about planning in order to progress, planning in order to get what we want. So these two ideas combined in the advice position gives this idea that in order to move on in this situation, it's going to take that you again, lighten your load on what it is that you take on both mentally and emotionally, and or if whatever it is the case in your instance, you're carrying a little too much there. And in order to gain the clarity or the resources, clarity and or resources that you're looking for, the magician, again, upwards would be that clarity, those resources. In order to get those things, you need to lighten the load that you have on your mind and or heart in order to progress forward successfully. I hope that helped. I'll catch you for the next one. Hello, Four of Swords. So what's incredible about this reading is not only do you have 3 consecutive cards within the same suit, so we have the 4, the 5, and the 6 of Swords here in your reading. The card that came out for your marker is the 4 of Swords as well. And I shuffled a completely separate deck in order to get these markers. And I did it even before I flipped over each of the readings. So I did it all at once. I didn't see any of these cards in here. I freaked out. I'm not going to lie to you. Anyways, moving forward, what is being said here with the 4 of Swords? Well, before I even get to the specific messages for each of these specific cards, I want to talk about how the last card, the advice card, is the only upwards card and is the biggest in terms of value. So obviously the 4 and the 5, they're both reversed, but the advice card, the 6, the biggest number, is the only one that's upwards. And what that tells me, what that tells me is that you're ready to move forward. This is also reflected by what the 6 of Swords is, which is a movement forward. But even before I even get to that specific image and that specific card and what the specific card means, the way the cards are laid out really reflects that alone. How ready you are to leave the past where it is and welcome in whatever's coming in, whatever's new, whatever's basically cycling in. And that's what this reading is about. The cycle that you're currently in, that you're kind of concluding, and the cycles that kind of starting and you're kind of welcoming. So the 4 of Swords reflects a repose, a stagnation, but not necessarily a bad one, just a pause of movement, a pause of everything, in order for there to be a stillness in which we can reflect and again repose and be the opposite of active. Reversed, then, it's an ending of that repose, an ending of that pause. It's resuming activity, resuming movement. And that's where I got that idea of awakening, what you're awakening to, what you're becoming aware of. And at the root of this awakening is the 5 of Swords reversed. And the 5 of Swords upwards shows someone who is victorious at very high costs, at a cost that leaves this victor lonely. And so it's a heavy price to pay for that victory. And whatever the case might be for you, that it's reversed, that this card is coming up reversed at the root of this reading, gives this idea that that's okay. I wanted to say that now that's over, but what's probably more true is that that's been over, and obviously the card reflects again, winning at all costs, and that might not necessarily be true for you. Maybe it is, but it's the energy rather that's being reflected. Something like that being true in the past for you, something that you're not proud of. That's essentially what I'm saying. That's what this card is saying. The 5 of Swords, especially when it's coming up reversed, is speaking of something that we're ashamed of, some actions that we're ashamed of, things that we've done in the past, especially here in this position with it being at the root, things that we've done in the past that we're not super proud of. And here in this reading, attached to the awareness of the Four of Swords reversed, and the fact that both of these cards reversed reflect a peace, because the Four of Swords, reversed or not, just always is very tranquil, and the Five of Swords, which upwards is about like victory at the end of a battle, reversed, yeah, speaks to a shame or a guilt, but it's also, it reflects the peace that made that awareness possible. Like, we were only able to realize how ashamed we were of those past things, or what made those things shameful. We were only able to realize those things in peace, in tranquility, in silence. And so both of these cards, again, are reflecting some type of peace. And so does the Six of Swords, which always shows, at least traditionally, the Rider Waite, the Pamela Coleman Smith imagery shows what kind of looks like refugees being moved from one place into another in kind of silence. So again, moving from something tumultuous into something more peaceful, more tranquil. So all of these cards are really reflecting, in the way that they landed and where they're at, just all of them reflecting this moving from, again, something tumultuous to something more tranquil. And again, specifically what's being said is, you're increasing awareness of either that peace that you've gained, or that shame attached to something in the past, whether, again, for you, if it was just winning at all costs, or just whatever might be there for you. And there's no, you're not being called out by these cards, and it's like, ooh, yeah, you know, don't think you can move on without being guilty. That's not what's being said here. What's being said is that you're gaining the awareness, whatever you're becoming aware of, because of the peace. Everything that's happening is natural. It's exactly where you're meant to be, and why I'm getting that, why I'm saying that where you're at right now is okay no matter what it looks like, is because you have the consecutive cards within the same suit. That's wild. I shuffle the deck and I take the bottom of the deck, and that's this card here at the root, the Five of Swords. That was at the bottom of the deck. The Six of Swords was at the top of the deck, and then I cut the deck in order to get this card, which is the Four. So they weren't anywhere near each other. I've used this deck a whole bunch of times before. There's no way that these cards were anywhere near each other. Again, the way that they were, like, that I shuffled them, they weren't near each other, and then they still came out this way. So that just tells me that even if you're not super happy with where you're at right now, and the realizations, the awareness that you're gaining, you're meant to be here right now. And the fact that it's all swords cards tells me that this is probably weighing really heavily on your mind. This is something that's you can't really get away from. And so, first of all, I know what that's like, and I'm sorry. Please seek relief in whatever way is healthy and right for you, and that's what I'll leave it at. But no, please be comforted in knowing that, at least here in this reading, there is a reflection, an assurance from the universe that, or whatever you believe in, that you are where you're meant to be, that what's going on right now it's meant to happen. And it's meant to happen because of what's coming next. And it's not so much that it's coming up immediately right now. It's that this phase you're going through right now of gaining awareness, closing out this cycle and welcoming in a new one, it's a slow process, and it's really meant to shape what comes next. Or maybe not, it's not meant to shape what comes next, but it's meant to shape you in order to accept what comes next. And I'm getting that specifically from the way that there's a sun in the Five of Swords, which is underneath, and then there's the moon in the top of the deck card, which is the Six of Swords. So it's not moving from the night into a sunrise, which indicates a new day. It's moving from a sunset into the nighttime, which is indicating the night where we're going to sleep. And I kind of got this idea of how when we sleep, we dream, we're in the dreamscape, we're open to divinity, and we can travel into other realms if you're into that. And this idea of in the day we're active, but at nighttime we're able to be shaped by other energies. We tap into our subconscious, and so moving from the day into the night, not necessarily into the new day, into this new cycle, into what's coming. It's more so moving into the part where you're preparing, you're getting ready for that new day. Like the nighttime where we rest, where we tap into the subconscious again, kind of getting that imagery across. But yeah, just to kind of review a little, really quick. You're exactly where you're meant to be because how we got 3 consecutive cards within the same suit, and the awareness you're gaining, and whatever you're feeling, whether it's guilt or shame, whatever it is that's heavy in the past that you're gaining awareness of, understand that it's on purpose and it's meant to shape you for the bigger, better things that are coming in the future, the new day that's coming. But it's not coming quite yet. What's coming right now immediately is this phase where you are preparing for it. I hope that helped. I'll catch you for the next one. Hello, Queen of Pentacles. For you, we have the 8 of Wands reversed, which upwards, the 8 of Wands is in essence just whatever is descending down upon us. So whatever you believe in, excuse me, if you believe in divinity, then it's, divinity's blessings and guidance down upon us. But if you're not into that, then it could just be inspiration. It could be motivation, because that's what the wands are about. Whatever it is, it's things that are kind of coming down upon you that it's good things. And so really it can range from just something as simple, I don't want to call it simple, but something as non-magical, I guess, as inspiration or motivation, to it being something more not extreme, but something along the lines, more divine, along the lines of like blessings and guidance. It could even just be like opportunities, whether provided by divinity or not. It's just good things. The 8 of Wands is good things. And so reversed, it's these good things not happening. And that's the main message here for your reading. And at the root of that is the 7 of Wands, which, it being the card that comes before the 8 of Wands, gives me this idea of, okay, don't take this the wrong way. It's just, this idea is what I'm getting in order to get the meanings I'm getting for your reading. It's almost like you haven't leveled up enough to handle the blessings that are trying to come in. Or again, whatever the 8 of Wands is reflecting for you. Because we're moving again from the 8, which is reversed, down into the 7, which is at the root of why the 8 of Wands isn't happening. And the 7 of Wands itself is a card of resistance. It's a card of us holding our position. And so obviously, there is a time and place for that. There are times when we do have to be super defensive and hold our position, because that's just what we have to do. And what's being said here is that you're so good at that. You're so good at holding your position. You're so defensive that you also successfully block out what's good. You're not just blocking out, the bad things, the things that, are the reason for why you're being defensive in the first place. You're blocking those things out successfully, and that's good. But it's now time to level up, to gain a new sense of mastery, and learn what it means, how to apply this gift of defensiveness that you have, because you're so good at it. We're going to call it a gift. How to apply that, when to apply it, and then also when to put it away. when to disarm yourself and accept, open your hand to, like it shows in the Six of Pentacles, open your hand to whatever it is that you're being given with the Eight of Wands here. So again, whatever that is for you, blessings from divinity or just opportunities, motivation, inspiration, whatever it is for you that is being blocked by your gift of defensiveness, it's going to require not only a level up, but how do we level up? By opening up, by learning what it means to put away that defensiveness, not permanently and not entirely, just long enough maybe, or yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that. Just long enough to learn what accepting good things might mean. Because obviously, if you're so good at being defensive, you know what it is that you have to keep out. So now it's time for you to learn what it is you can actually bring in and accept in. And you'll only learn that by opening your hand to it. So again, it's a gift that you've learned how to block things so effectively. And if you are the type of person who very easily picks up on other people's energies and you're kind of overwhelmed by that, or even if it's not about you picking up on other people's energies, but you're kind of just like a people pleaser maybe, and you've had to learn how to be very boundaried and defensive, it's not about putting that away and throwing it away. No, it's a gift. It's now about learning how to, again, be better, learn more, take it to the next step, take it to the next level up again, essentially, and learn how to put that away. Learn how to disarm yourself and learn what it means to be vulnerable with life or divinity or whatever it is that you apply to in order to accept what it's trying to give you. Balancing out that fierce defensiveness with vulnerability. I hope that helped. Wow, I hope that helped. I'll catch you for the next one.